traders, welcome back to another episode of Market and Mike. And as you all know, this is the podcast where market meets mind. So if you've been listening to us from the very first episode, you know that we don't talk just anyhow. We talk about the real through on how to navigate this market easily. And we are here with another exciting episode. And I'm not here alone, guys. I'm Daniel, and here with me is my great and consistent co-host Natasha. Welcome.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Market on Mike. And yes, that's right, this is episode 13, and 13 was quite a challenge in preparing. Okay, what do we get to talk about because of that number 13, right?
We call it an unlucky number.
Yes, it's been said to be a very unlucky number, and while some people actually say that it's an unlucky number, we actually say it's just another day of disciplined execution. Right?
Yeah, right.
So welcome everyone, and if this is your first time of joining us, you know that you have a lot to learn because we have actually do come a long way. So you can join us directly from episode 1 till 13, but trust me, you can hang on tight because we're about to have a really good one.
All right, we're bringing something very important and very static to you today. We're diving into a topic that separates amateurs from the elite. But I wonder, those people really making money, what are they really doing?
Yes, as much as we have a lot of people who can relate on the aspect of we are losing money, trust me, we have guys that are making money. And when we say they're making money, we're not talking a couple thousands of dollars. We're talking about massive amount. And when you look at them, you could say they're actually the 1%.
We could class them as the 1% because we have a lot of people more complaining.
Exactly. We all talk about exactly. We see them and you're like, okay, they're like goals to us. And then, you know, at some point in trading, when you see somebody making quite an amount of money and you're probably taking those same trades and you're losing, you begin to wonder that, am I being scammed here? But trust me, we have a certain elite of people who have actually gotten the hack to trading. They have cracked the hack to trading, and that is what we're actually going to be talking about today.
Yeah, so we're going into the habits. What does 1%? What is elite guys? What they really do that others tend to neglect, or what they don't do. So if you've ever asked yourself, what do the elite traders do differently? So you need to stick around. We're going to be breaking down their entire playbook, what they actually really do that separates them from others.
Yeah, so if there's anything that I think we've spoken about more when it comes to trading is your personality fit.
Yeah.
Right. And let's not just forget that it's not just about trading alone. Your daily habits is what makes you up. Right? And when it comes to trading, it's exactly like that. So let's actually start by contrasting the 99% with the 1%, because there's actually this particular fact that says 99% of beginner traders would definitely lose their first capital.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
for every experienced trader right now, you know, they always have that first story, how I actually lost my first probably $100 or my first trading account. Most traders fall into a very familiar trap, and that is over trading. That is chasing price and ignoring risk. It's a no-brainer. Because once you've decided to put yourself on the market every single day, you have decided to expose yourself, that you've decided to make exposure of your account every single day. Yes, and as much as we're a retail trader, we're trying to chase price, we're trying to follow that 10 pips, 20 pips. Trust me, like I said, these people have actually cracked it and they know that is not the game.
Yeah, true.
Yes, and we ignore a lot of risk as daily traders, right? This 1% do not. In fact, I think they actually care more about their risks than their profit.
They sure do.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing that's very important. The 1%, they literally operate on their plan, their structure, and not emotions. So they tend to see how they can walk out of their emotions and basically focus on their plans, their daily plans. They know when not to trade. They keep detailed logs or journals, and they treat risk like a sacred ground. So they try as much as possible not to sin against risk. You know what that means?
I think most traders actually consider their risk when they are beginning
to lose money. Yeah,
not a lot of traders actually consider their risk
before
they go into the trade. Everybody's just trying to manage risk when they see that, okay, markets might actually not be coming back to my entry point, or market has not been going in my direction for a couple of days, and that is where you're trying to salvage your account. But for every profitable trader, you already know that risk is one thing you factor into that particular trade. So think of it like this: the average trader is actually reactive, and the early trader is deliberate. Every move has a reason. I keep saying this thing: there's a reason why a buy is happening, there's a reason why a sell is happening, and every risk is calculated. Right? So they are not waiting to see a negative before they say, okay, how much can I wait till this price to go to, or I want the negative to reduce from here to here. No, that is leverage actually managing you.
Yeah,
And I think we've said this already. You cannot allow that to happen. You need to manage your leverage.
Nope.
And for an early trader, he knows that his risk is as important as his profit.
Yeah,
every risk is calculated, guys. Every risk is calculated.
Guys, I would like what you said, having to understand what your risk is before you go into a trade is something that a lot of new traders, a lot of traders are still struggling out there.
Even existing traders.
Yeah, that's why I said a lot of traders
people just
actively traded.
Calculate, okay, fine. If I go on this 0.1, I'm going to be making a lot of money. And risk only comes to their head whereby market hits their entry point and begins to go against them.
Yeah, and they begin to panic.
There's a struggle because you've not played all of that. For an early trader, he has played all that scenarios in his mind.
Exactly. He already understands.
He's no longer emotional. Yeah. He already knows, okay, if I do not expect, this is what I should expect. So in his head, he has made, if it's possible for him to make counter trades to back those things up. So when whatever is going to happen in the market, like I said, an average trader is just going to follow your emotions are just going to follow the trades as they come. But for somebody who has prepared their mind that, okay, this is the worst that can happen and this is what I'm looking for, trust me, nothing shakes them, and that is how they're able to maintain those emotions on those markets.
Right, Natasha, before we go a little bit forward, a question just popped in my mind.
Okay.
Can a trader at all, probably average trader, elite trader, whatever, do you think that emotions can be 100% taken out from trading?
Okay.
Like to totally work without emotion, work like a robot.
We are not robots, so we cannot say that we can completely exclude emotions from it. But it's just in the sense that, for instance, if I'm going to take a risk on something, if I understand my risk, I understand that, okay, this is the most I can actually lose on this trade. I'm able to come to peace with it even before it happened, right? I'm able to put my mind and say, you know what, if I'm setting my stop loss, basically, I'm looking to lose this amount of money. So in my head, in my mind, I have come to terms that so I've accepted that risk already, right? So even when I see market playing out, I'm having a minus $100, $200, $300.
You've already played it out before.
Exactly. It's something that I really like. I've lived out that fear or whatever emotions already. So irrespective of how far, because like I said, it's risk management. I have my stop loss and I know that the most I can lose is $1,000. In fact, before I go into that trade, I've made up my mind that the worst is I'm losing $1,000. If I lose that $1,000, it was something that was seen. Exactly, it was But imagine you not thinking that I can actually lose $1,000 on the trade, and you begin to go in. Your money goes into negative.
400,
500, panicking already, because it is at that point you're coming to terms that I can actually be losing. So at that point in time, your head is everywhere. You're trying to figure out how you can actually
salvage yourself,
it, and then leverage begins to manage you.
That part of leverage manage.
Put on buys and sell.
That's not a good thing.
And it's not, and you're negative on both. Like you see,
that markets are playing in between your entry.
Market begins to rain. And all of a sudden you realize that, in the next 3 days, you're going to have FOMC. So markets will range throughout the week. That's all.
And it puts you in a state of panic.
Thank you. You're waking up in the evening. You're sleeping. You wake up to pee. You're checking your trade. Market is not even doing anything. You're bored on a buy and your negative is just crazy.
All right. So guys, so you need to separate yourself. You need to start thinking like the elites, the 1%, rather than staying average. Don't stay average. So let's go a little bit further. How do this 1%, how do they think? How is their mind like? So let's take a stroll, or let's travel into the mind of the 1% trader. All right. So elite traders are usually obsessed with asymmetric setup. What do I mean by asymmetric setup? Setups that are top-notch, A+. Setups that when you're looking at the downside, comparing it to the upside is way more compared to the downside. So they try as much as possible to be patient for the best of setups. rather than having to chase every single opportunity they find.
Most traders do not know one thing, that patience is also a strategy.
Strategy in trading, yes.
I keep saying this over and over again. It is not the ability to go into the market every day to click a buy or a sell that make you
profitable.
You need to understand the market. Like we said earlier, there's a reason why things are happening. When your market is on an uptrend, when you check it, there's a backup for that.
Yeah.
Your market is not just going up because
For
of
no reason.
No. If your market is on a downtrend, there's a reason for that. And an early trader understands that. So they are not in a hurry to place their buy and sells. Like you said, they are actually obsessed with the setup. They want to see that confirmation.
Yeah, they're very
want
obsessed
to,
with.
and the way we always say it, we talk about price action before, and we already know that the market would always do what it has done before.
Yeah, true.
So they have been able to see it. Most people
play
come
out
into
over
the
and over.
market and they begin to trade, and I can tell you that a lot of traders have never actually gone back on their trade and say, let me actually see what this market has done for the last 5 years, for the last 6 years. Everybody just jump into the market. Oh, what's going on? I want to buy, I want to sell. And that's where they are focused. But for the real traders, now these early traders are people that have seen how much they're able to make on the market. They have made it. They have done it. In fact, what they're just doing is repetition.
Yeah, the repetition,
They're
doing the
just
same thing again and
exactly.
again and again.
And they're able to do that based on the fact that they have seen what the market has been able to do over the years.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the early traders, they are thinking differently. They are not looking for that sharp, that buy and sell. They use second order thinking.
Yeah.
That is, like I said, they wait for their confirmation. It's not like me sometimes that I want to just get that hammer or inverted hammer. We're not waiting for confirmation.
They're
We're
just
diving
in immediately.
yourself. But no, an early trader understand, like they understand their risk. And because they're even trading with a much more crazy account size, they are not looking to lose so much.
Yeah.
So it's not just about what will happen. Early trader is about what does the market expect,
Yeah.
and how can I trade against that expectation.
They're not trying to follow what everyone is thinking. Yeah, they're just waiting
They're
for their
thinking of the
edge to play out.
investors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing is that these guys are emotionally detached. Yeah, they don't.
Very.
Whereas they try as much as possible not to allow their emotions get the best of them. So this particular guy, Paul Tudor Jones, that made a statement, said something. Said the secret to being successful, undenying thirst for information and knowledge.
I have never agreed so much with this thing.
Yeah, so this guy always chasing information, always chasing knowledge.
You want
You wanna know what's
trading
moving the
money,
markets.
you need information.
Exactly. You need to be very well learned, and you always need to chase that information. What is moving the market? Why is the market responding this way? What has happened in the last 5 years, like Natasha said? How does the market respond in situations like this? So you need to have all those things, learn about them, because that mindset of constant growth is non-negotiable.
It's none at all. Like
Yeah.
you cannot negotiate it, except you are coming to the market to gamble. You want to make money from trading, you have to be interested in the information.
Yeah, you
It is
need to.
information that is power. And you realize that when you begin to crave more, or you begin to focus your energy more on getting information, the market begins to make more sense.
Yes, and
know,
definitely make more
And
money.
you'll be able to spot more opportunities, even those little opportunities whereby we could all be sitting down looking at the market, and all of a sudden we see this massive spike, and all we can do is wish if I knew the idea, or I wish I followed this candle, or I wish this. But please, all wishes will just remain wishes if we do not actually put actions to that. So if you're able to follow up with all of this information, when it comes to information regarding trading, guys, I can tell you that definitely the money will come.
Yeah, definitely it's going to come. So let's move a little bit for the guys. So now another thing that separates the 1% from the 99 or from the majority.
Yes, guys. Now there are things that we, like most traders, do that, and I don't know why you think is actually going to make them very successful. But this is one thing that an elite trader will never do. Now, a real edge isn't flashy signals. Sometimes I get really frustrated when people ask me, can you send me signals?
Why do you want signals?
My first question to people like that is, what are you looking to achieve on this market? Because you're literally putting yourself in a box. You're literally saying that I am comfortable making the amount of pips I am willing to make.
Yeah.
And you're willing to take the risk I am willing to. So definitely it's more like just bringing your account to the market and let somebody else do the trading for you. When you actually come in contact with an LI trader, you know that it's not about the flashy signals or Twitter tips. I don't know how people do that, but fine. But it's about system that has been tested. Like we said, your price actions is that there's a reason why the market is willing to show you what the market has done since as far back as 1890 something. It's not just because of they have nothing to put there, but it's a trend, it's a process. And early traders have been able to understand the movement of the market. They have tested, it is repeatable, and it is rooted in probabilities. This is a game of probabilities.
Yeah, it's a game of probabilities.
Right? That is why you are able to have your profit. You're able to also understand your risk management. And trader, it has to be rooted in probabilities. You cannot just make unnecessary movements because you made a trade on just one lock, right? It's not people that say, oh, my friend bought gold yesterday and he made a lot of money, so I'm going to buy gold today. No. Even if everybody is making money at that particular time, if that is not the strategy of an elite trader, trust me, he's going to sit out of that market. He sees what he understands. And that is what actually helps. So when everybody is losing money on that very crazy day, you realize that an early trader did not even have to be in the market. Why? Probabilities, guys.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Nathan. All right, so another that the light traders tend to do, or the 1% that they backtest. All right, when if you're thinking, what does backtesting mean? It just means the market has lots in terms of, they have quite a lot in terms of, they can go back to the market and try to check out their strategies, try to work on what the market or their edge, or what the things they can tend to look out for before they execute the trade. So they go back in time, look at the price action of the market or the candlesticks, how market responded in some key levels and things like that. They tend to go back, do a lot of back testing, and they also track the outcomes. All right. Another thing they do is that they refine based on data, not vibes. They're not always just excited.
Okay, basically, depending on how you trade, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can backtest your eyes, but you can also backtest your strategy.
Yeah, that's what
I always say
you
do your backtest for strategy 10 times. Like 10 good times. Don't forget, the goal is not about who is in the market the longest. It's not about how many days you're on the market. It's about how many times you can come to the market and make consistent profit. So there is nothing wrong. One thing that maybe gets me a bit upset when I meet traders is that we go to school 4-5 years for a degree. And it comes to trading and I want to start making money immediately. Like, it has to happen now. Yes, you can make money, but depending on what you're trading and what strategy you're working on, you want to be able to understand if that strategy works. So try it 10 times. If it works 7 times, you actually have something solid. And if it works lesser than 5, then you go back to the drawing board. But you can say that most traders don't do that. We just want to buy when the market is buying.
So do you think if maybe a trader has a strategy that plays out 4 times out of 10, do you think the strategy is crap?
I would not say it's crap. I would say probably needs to be modified.
All right, now this is why I said that question, or asked that question is I had a particular story on a particular hedge fund. Now, this hedge fund, the strategy they trade with has a 30% win rate, and they're still profitable, making a lot of money. So what they do is, now any trade they execute and the market doesn't immediately go in their direction, they cut out that trade, they cut out the loss, and trade that go in their favor to try to leverage on it.
Like you said, it's a hedge fund. So first thing first, there is capital. Because capital alone, it's like a strategy on its own. I always say this. There's an amount of money you would have on the market, and with the amount of lot size that, trust me, you do beautifully well. Now with the hedge fund, God, I don't want to think about how much I would actually make if I actually had a hedge fund account. So yes, with a hedge fund account, like you said, they leverage on whatever trade that is going in their favor. So they're able to double that to 30% in a day because you have the capital, you have a trade going in your favor, and you can always just follow.
Let's take out the fact that they have capital and just focus
you
on
can't take out
probability
the
of the head.
Three things you need to consider when you want to trade. First of all, 1-to-1 is capital. Capital is what creates the dream, except you're just being unrealistic, right? Of course, we have, I want to flip a $10 account to $1,000. We all have that area of risk. But for any disciplined trader, you know that the first thing first, now depending on how you expose yourself to the market, it is capital. There's some particular strategy you wouldn't even want to try on a smaller account size. Maybe based on the instruments you're trading on, how long that strategy requires you to sit. And you don't want a strategy that would always hit your stop loss and only for market to come back get to your take profit. Capital on its own, it's like building, it's the foundation for it. With Demo, you're able to open different account sizes, see how the capital, how the strategy plays out. where you'd actually be more profitable so that you're able to manage your risks better. But that's just by the way.
All right, that's a very good perspective to also look at it from. All right. Another thing is most LI traders, they're usually not looking, or they are not trying to be right all the time.
Of course, yes. For early traders, they are not in the game to be right. I've spoken to quite an amount of traders. I think this is where they fall, and everybody have done an analysis, and market has, or their analysis has indicated buy, and they want to force the market buy. For early traders, they understand. They might not even be making the right choice, but they are actually here to manage outcome. They understand that on some days it could be a 50-50 thing, but if this is going to be a 50-50 thing, how can I leverage my 50 if it goes in my way? How can I leverage my 50 if it goes against me? So they are not actually here to manage outcome, and it is not about predicting the future. We traders, we feel very good when we're able to say the market would
And it
buy.
buys.
We begin for some profits, you're good. Yes, you're able to tell. It is not even about that. It is about preparing for any future.
Any kind of.
So you see an early trader managing his risk or his trade on a buy and still managing his risk there on a sell, right? So irrespective of how the market goes, if it goes in his favor, he's there to leverage everything completely. And if it goes against him, his account is still there and he has been able to manage his risk. So they are not here to play Harry Potter, and they know that there are different things that affect the market, and they are not interested in, I have to make the right thing, I have to say buy and the market buy. No, they are there to see, they understand that this market would only do two things. It would either buy or it will sell. Now, if this market buy, what do I need to do? And if this market sell, how can I leverage it at that?
All right, that's beautiful, Natasha. I hope you guys are learning a whole lot and you're taking a whole lot of information.
Yes, so we already know that for any traders, it is not vibes and inshallah, because we do that a lot. You know what? Let me just join this buy and let me just hope for the best. I've spoken to quite an amount of traders, like a lot of them, and I don't want to say yo, because we all have the same issues.
How do you mean the same issues?
I think we should create like a group where we're able to discuss, like a therapy session, something.
I was about to tell listeners out there that Natasha is a trading therapist. So if you have questions
that
like
should be a thing. That should be like a career path.
it is
like-
actually.
Yeah.
They are trading therapists.
Wow, I'm going
You know,
to
some hedge funds they literally have a department where they employ therapists for their traders.
Interesting.
Yeah, where that is
Yeah,
what that's how you
go-
keep the traders in check.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm about to become very rich. I think I've been thinking of a new career path, and you just actually brought one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
After I've told the listeners that you're one already.
Yes, but I'm saying I can actually be better in this. I didn't even know I was this good. But I think I'm going to leverage it, guys.
Your first
Having
patient.
in your trading, and you need somebody to talk to. Trust me, I'm going to understand all the slang, all the jargon. And it's going to be fun. I'm done, guys. You're going to be a elite trader.
What? Run.
Definitely.
All right, guys, let's move it forward. Now, let's look at the daily routines of the 1%. How do these guys get themselves ready mentally for the day or for the trading day? Success literally starts before the bell rings. What does that literally mean? Before the market actually starts out. All right, so success begins from what you do before you actually start trading. So here's what the day of the 1% trader may look like. So they look at, there's a pre-market review. There's a focused execution during the sessions. They are always focused. This could be for probably a trader that trades every day. All right. When they wake up in the morning after scenes and the likes, they have a pre-market review. Right. Then they tend to be more focused, or they tend to focus during market sessions for their trading executions. And there's a post-market journaling. They try to journal their trades before they go in and after they've executed a particular trade.
We've said this before, that trading sometimes is like the gym. There's a process to it. If you say, oh, I'm about to lose belly fat, or I want to lose belly fat, there's a certain amount of workout or particular type of workout that you need to do. And the early traders understand this. They know that they want to actually make profit. They know that they are in the market to make profits, but not to predict the market. So there are certain things that they have been able to put in place to help them. Because trust me, the process can be boring.
It can be boring.
It can be boring. So you can see that many of them even meditate.
Yeah.
Not for spiritual high, guys, but to train emotional control. We say it every day that emotional intelligence is another type of intelligence on its own. It is very great if you're able to control your emotions, especially when it comes to money, because we know how money can actually be.
Yeah, Bible said it as mammon.
Because this emotional capital is just as important as your financial capital. So as much as you have that financial capital in your account waiting for you to double or triple it, your emotional capital too is clearly invested. And your emotional capital is as big as your financial capital.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's as big as your account is, that's how as big your emotions is actually going to be. So you need to know how to keep these things in check.
Yeah. Sometimes it could be boring, like Natasha said, but it should be repetitive. That's the point.
Repetitive.
Yeah, discipline. You must be disciplined. The 1% traders are always disciplined.
Routine, guys.
Yes, because
Routine.
discipline thrives in routine. Yeah, so you must.
Routine is hard. Trust me, it is hard. God. Like it is hard, not just physically, but mentally. Like it is. Imagine just having to wake up every single day and do the exact same thing. Trust me, you might not be tired in 2 days, but I give you 2 weeks. I give you 1 week, depending on how big your mind can carry it. See, it is.
Don't poke that part, Natasha. Don't
Wow.
poke it.
So trust me, if you've been able to get to that point whereby you are able to thrive in routine and create discipline, there is nothing you cannot do in this life. You can take over this world if you want to.
Yeah,
Because trust me, discipline thrives in routine, and routine is not easy at all. So guys, there are certain things that I'm sure that maybe along our trading journey, we've heard about 1 or 2 myths about trading successes. Some people still even carry these particular ideas around, thinking that those are actually true. So let us kill a few myths, shall we?
let's do it.
So now, I think one I've heard is that the more you trade, the more you earn.
Okay.
But the truth about that is overtrading will bleed your account. It was crazy that I actually had the conversation with a trader today. He's actually one very good trader that I know. He always just feels there is a need to be in the market every day. If he does not see a trade on his account in a day, something is hard. Somebody is killing him, right? And yes, of course, if you're able to take 10 good trades in a day, that's good money times 10, right? But imagine actually having to lose 10 trades in a day.
That's
Exactly, that's very bad. So overtrading actually bleeds your account, and early traders wait for only high probability setups. Like I said, confirmation.
Yeah, they wait for the EPOS setup.
Yep, trust me, they're not trying to juggle your inverted hammer on 5 minutes or your morning star on 30 minutes. No, they're actually waiting for the real setup.
Yeah. So let's look at another myth, guys. Some traders think big wins are everything. Nope, that's not true. The best traders care more about how little they lose. So they try as much as possible to control their risk rather than think reward. So they want to keep their risk, or they want to keep their exposure to the market way little, because if you tend to lose more, the longer you get to stay in the market, the more capital you have to stay in the market and more opportunities you tend to take. Imagine having to lose so much when your account is gone. When the opportunities out, you want to take advantage of them. So the big wins are not everything. So the best traders, like I said, they care more about how little they lose, because risk control is their superpower.
If you can manage your risk properly, trust me, you can stretch the life of your account for as
It's possible.
Like we said, you don't have to be on the trade before you begin to think of managing your risk. Everything should be pre-planned, so that whatever loss you're going to be making, if you're going to be making it, you already prepared your mind for it. And even after a bad day, you still see yourself feeling really good, because at the end of the day, you managed that account, right? So one other myth I have heard so much is success is about finding the right strategy or guru.
Nope.
Sometimes I wonder, how did these things come about? Based on my experience, I can actually see, but guys, no, it's about self-awareness, reflection.
You can't actually blame people for thinking that. If you check online, you will see 1,000,001 different strategies.
What's the thing is very logical. If somebody tells you that one strategy works, right?
Yeah.
Why do there need to be another? Ask yourself.
You see why you need to? Yeah, I'll open shop for you.
So ask yourself, if a strategy is perfect, why do you have to constantly learn the new strategy? As a trader, the first thing you should know is that this market is dynamic. And a strategy that would probably last you 6 months or 3 months, depending, the market is always going to change. We have policies, we have politics. In terms of Trump like this, you want to learn a strategy. By the time you are done learning that strategy, market has changed. I can't add for a fact. So guys, it is not about, of course, I'm not saying strategies don't work. Yes, they work. And finding the right strategy is also very good. But guys, it is mostly about self-awareness, your reflection, and consistency over time. Like we said earlier, information is power. If you're able to apply information to strategies, you'd be able to switch your strategy when there is a need,
Yeah, very
right? You don't
important.
just say, oh, because I've been buying, or my MA has been like this, or my RSI has been like this, so I have to continue like that. On the day the devil will come.
A particular trader say sometimes when he goes into the market, sometimes devil usually ends the market. He loses money.
The devil will come. You'd be surprised. And that is why a lot of people end up losing big.
Yeah.
They end up losing big on the market. So guys, please, success is about your self-awareness. How much do you know? How much do you know yourself? Because with that, you're able to make certain decisions that would not give you high blood pressure
Yeah, so
or
peace of
hypertension.
mind.
Exactly.
Peace of mind
So
is
guys,
important.
if it's about learning the right strategy, trust me, we see how much strategies we learn in a year. I've heard different names. Oh my god. In fact, at some point I'm like, you know what, just hold it there.
So just focus more. Strategy is important. Yes, it is important, but it is not what brings about our success.
No guys.
It's not what
There is
so
no perfect strategy for trading. If not, the money would have not been left on the financial market.
well,
People would have
pack
been
everything.
killing it.
We'll have
Yeah, strategy is important, yes, but understanding that the market is dynamic. So your self-awareness, your reflection, and consistency over time is also
those are three
going
key
to
points.
play a very important factor.
All right, guys, we're slowly coming to an end, and we wouldn't leave you alone without having to help you or show you how you can start thinking like the 1% trader today. Number one thing, Natasha, can you just help us reflect on it?
I say this almost on every episode.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
The trading playbook. So take it from a trading therapist right now. Build a trading playbook. I don't know why. It's as if we Africans, we don't like book. One book is about to enter the matter, it begins to sound very.
So you just how I just
Yes, but guys, you know, trading playbook, it's going to help you a lot, right? Know your setups, be able to explain them. I like when I'm able to meet traders and I'm like, okay, what are you trading on? What are you working on? How do you see the market? And you're able to probably lay out a particular foundation on how I can look at the market differently. Well, most people you tell them say, no, my friend, or no,
I just see buying. Market buying and I just say, let me follow it. Yeah, that's you. And you can't make money that way.
Yes, that's you gambling. And even if you make money, trust me, the day the devil will come.
The devil visits the market.
I'm just going to leave it like that. But guys, trading playbook, know your setup, know what it is, know that those confirmation that gives you rest of mind, and then be able to explain it. Don't just jump into the market because you think or you feel. Remember, the market don't know you exist.
Yeah, true. Like Natasha rightly said, you need to journal, track everything, guys. Write down your trade, your thoughts, your emotions, because your edge lives in your journal. That's that particular edge, that thing that helps you to keep that consistency, to stay consistent. It lives inside that book. That book, you need to start journaling because that's where the edge lives in. All right. So another thing you need to do is your risk. Very important.
Yes, guy, your risk. You put your risks first. Know your stop loss before you enter the trade. I said it earlier already. As an early trader, before trade triggers, you have done that analysis. Okay, I'm going into my Euro USD. I even know people that probably when they are about to take trade, they do not just write their setups, they record it.
Yeah.
They go, oh, today is Monday, 25th June 2024. I'm about to take a trade, Euro USD. This is what I saw. This was my confirmation. So at the end of the day, they're able to go back to listen. They're able to go back to figure out what they actually did wrong. So guys, put your risk first. Don't wait till you realize that, okay, price might not actually come back here. Or maybe there was a dynamic support or resistance and I didn't see it. Okay, now, how much do I have? Minus $100. Okay, let me see. Guys, once you're at that point, I'm sorry.
No comment.
No comment. When you've been able to accept your loss from the onset,
yeah,
you've made up your mind that, see, I'm not losing anything less than $50. You said your $50 might pain you, but you have gone through that pain.
Yeah, like 50% of it experienced it before.
Good. So by the time it begins to play out, it's okay. I already anticipated it. Right? It's like making assumptions and making actions to be able to cover up for those assumptions.
Yep.
Exactly. Put your risks first. Know your stop before you enter the trade. Don't wait for leverage. I'll keep on saying, don't wait for leverage to manage you. Manage your leverage, guys.
Yeah, so another thing you guys should actually look out for is systemize your edge, right? So what are the things you look out for before you go into a trade? What are the things in the trade? So those are the things you get to look out for. Make your edge systematic. Your strategy, your risk management, your trade management.
It should make sense, guys.
Missions, yeah, systemize
Some
everything.
strategies they boss brain. Hey,
Yeah, and make it realistic. Yes, make it, because you don't have, maybe you get this market. So make it
if
realistic.
you see some setup. Now there are some people that when I'm like, I'd rather not just confuse myself. Guys, don't confuse yourself. Yes, there's a lot of things selling when it comes to trading. Are we talking about indicators? You want to put your ADX, your RSI, and these days people combine indicators together. You want to keep it simple, guys, because trust me, the market it's not really that deep.
Yeah, it isn't.
It's really not. Sometimes I see some people chat and it looks like they are rainmakers or something, like very colorful and very. I begin to see, yes, like the sky is participating and all of that. But guys, please, you want to keep it very simple.
Very simple. And also make sure that your execution is flawless. Once you have your edge and you see it play out in the market, execute your trade. Don't be afraid that, okay, what if I enter now and the market, you have all of that planned out. I go in, if the market hits my stop loss, fine. I wait for the next opportunity. If it hits my TP, great. I'm happy, I'm excited. I wait for the next opportunity. So make your execution flawless, right?
And 5, guys, get comfortable with boredom. Nothing really has to happen on this market. When you tell people that the market is moving, I don't know the imagination they have in their head, right? But sometimes your strategy or your setup might need you to be patient. Like I said earlier, patience is also a strategy. Guys, consistency is the real flex. Get comfortable with it. You can come to the market every day, check your setup, see if it's working. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to place a trade every single day, right?
Nope.
So guys, get comfortable with boredom. I don't know, right? I know we have some adrenaline junkies in the house that just wants to feel that urge of having to place and just expect to see the outcome of that trade. But if you actually want to be an elite trader, that is the 1% of the 1%. Those people that can actually tell you that trading is my full-time job. Yeah. That is all they do. And these people that one day, like sometimes I believe that the richest man on earth should be a trader.
Probably they're hiding.
Or maybe
they're hiding. There's this guy that recently bought a private jet from trading. Crazy. So there are people out there that are making a whole lot of money.
So guys, consistency, like I said, is the real flex. And this brings us to the end of episode 13. That's a wrap, guys. And Market on Mic and the so-called unlucky number just actually turned into a masterclass.
Boom. I actually quite enjoyed this particular episode. It was really exciting.
Yes.
So if you got value out of this episode, send it to a fellow trader too. And don't just do that. Start implementing these habits that we spoke about.
Remember, it is your habits that make you.
Yeah.
So you want to actually become a better trader, an elite trader. Start putting in those habits. Trust me, if you're not disciplined, you're not disciplined. You can't fake it.
Yeah, so don't just send and do these things yourself.
I stop looking for flashy trade signals, guys. No. Go to the market. Go and source for information. And trust me, the money will be the one chasing you. And don't worry, we're going to be back next week with much more insight, market insight, and sharp conversations. So until then, stay humble, and always respect the risk.
Yes, respect your risk, and don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Market on Mic, and also this particular episodes.
Yes. Right? And until then, guys, in the market.
Bye.